Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Ken's Show and Tell. Well, I've moved my 1963 Mercedes-Benz 220 SE Heckflosse up, and it's butted up against my 1984 Mercedes-Benz W123 300 diesel, turbo diesel, and today I'm going to be servicing my 1972 Mercedes-Benz 280 SE 4.5. Let's go over and look at the service book and see what we're getting ready to do. Well, I no longer have the original service books on this car, so like on all my cars, I keep my own book. And so today, with the car having 124,162 miles on it, we are going to be changing the engine oil with 8 liters of Rotella T4 15W40. We will change the oil filter and replace it with a MAN filter, part number H929X, and then we're going to be checking the oil level inside in the differential and lubricating the chassis. All right, let's get this thing up on the lift and get going. There's the old crushed copper washer that came out of the car, and here is a new one that comes with the new filter kit, along with a filter and a couple other washers. This is the one that's going to go over the drain plug. Here's the oil and the new filter, and it's draining up there now, and I think while it's draining we'll go pull that filter off, at least the housing off. Here's the oil filter housing buried up in here. 17 millimeter nut. Back it off and your oil filter element is inside. So let's go ahead and take that out. It's kind of a fiddly thing, but it will come out. And here's the filter. Whoa, came apart. Whoa, that's not supposed to do that. All right, let's see. Pull this thing out. And here's the, pull it out. Let me do a tight fit. There it is. Let that thing drain. I got a new filter in the kit, or a gasket in the kit for this, and there's some oil still down in there, so we'll dump it out in this oil catcher and go ahead and pull out the new. Okay, and in goes the new. There we go. Put that rascal in there. tight fit, which is what you want. And here's the old. Okay. Now I got to put the filter in that sucker. Okay, here's the new filter. Fits over that and just seats down in there. There's a spring that holds it good and tight. That's what it looks like. And we'll go put it back in the car. There's the mating surface. It goes back. The oil filter goes back into the block there. And then what we'll do is fish it back up into this hole here and get it seated again. Back in place. Kind of fiddly to get back in place. I highly recommend that when you are starting this bolt, wiggle this stuff around, make sure that gasket back there is seated, and hand start this bolt. Don't start it with a wrench. It would be a disaster to get that cross threaded in there, but it's up. And I guess if you did this for a living, it would be zippity-doo-dah. But for us hobbyists, it certainly isn't. So there you go. The new oil filter is in. Now this pan's empty, and I have to remember to put the oil in it. And there it is, right there, waiting to go in. But while we have it up in the lift, let's go ahead and grease all the greasing points in the front and the back. And it's a matter of finding them all, because there's a lot on these old 108s. Well, as far as lubrication goes, let's start on the front passenger side. And on the kingpin, you have one down here at the bottom. You have one here in the middle, that's two, and one up here at the top. This one will have to turn the wheel and get access to that. And then you have one right up here on this suspension piece. And we'll have to check the other side. I think there's one on the, yeah, that's the top of the kingpin up there. And then come over here on this piece suspension, we have another one here and another one here, and then we'll go around to the back of the front of this side by turning these wheels. And the wheels, even though it has power steering, are very easy to turn by hand. So let's go ahead and lubricate those. Let's start here at the bottom and work our way up till I can get these two right here, and I can get this one up here, and I can get those two over here, and then we turn the wheel. And okay, so one side at a time. So you just put fresh grease in there until it squirts out of the joint. See it back there? Right there, squirt it out, and then over here too, squirt it out, and it comes out the side, top, and this one right here, it came out right there, which is pretty nice. Every now and then you run into a stubborn one like this one, which was, I couldn't get the grease to go in. It just smear out the nipple itself. So if you have an instrument like this, sometimes you can get lucky and stick this into that ball, which is spring loaded, and sometimes move it around carefully, and sometimes that's enough to break apart the old grease, and that really helps. So this stuff just squirted right out, which is nice. That's the old, and this is the new coming and mixing with the old. All right, so let's go ahead and turn the wheel. I'll show you how easy that is. All you gotta do is reach up and turn it. And there you go. Now we can get around to the other sides. Well, as usual, I've run into a snag on these old cars. That grease nipple up top looks in good condition, but it's turned in such a way you cannot get a grease in there. So what I'm going to do is pull this wheel off, and that will give me access. There it is. See how it's turned? So I'm gonna have to see if I can turn it or put another one in there, but there's no way I can get a grease gun in there. So let me go ahead and take care of that. Well, I think I'll get some PB Blaster and put it in and blast it in there and see what happens. But you can see how caked that is. Ugh. All right, no wonder it wouldn't take anything. Oh boy, it's loosening up. That's always a good sign. Oh yeah. Come at it from this side here. Okay, that spring hasn't frozen, so that ball's going up and down. There's crap in there. Woohoo! Okay. Well, the things we go through for these old cars, huh? God, I could just kind of leave it alone and like everybody else has done through the years, but I just can't do that. Huh. Oh yeah, that's going up down like it's supposed to now. Boy, I tell you, this is a good lesson. If you have a car and the grease nipple has ceased taking grease, don't put it off like this poor old car's had done to it over the years. This is what happens with these things. They get neglected, and those of us that care get them, and boy, you spend the first few years of ownership trying to correct stuff. And you just kind of discovered it along the way. Oh yeah, see, that's looking a whole lot better in there. Can you see in there? Let's give them a squirt here. Yeah. Oh wow, I can really see the bottom now of it, which is nice. Yep. Kind of weird getting excited about a grease nipple coming clean, but you know, what the hell. It's a private life of vintage car maintenance and ownership, right? The little victories. So here it is. Nasty booger. Okay. I think this will probably take grease now. Screw it in there nicely. Good. Whoa. Can't see that's where it was. Kind of. Let me see if I can get it over there a little bit further. Yeah. Let's really sit down on it. Now I believe I can get in there. Okay. See? Okay, let's put a grease gun on it and see where we are. You can see that the grease nipple is taking grease. See the oozing out the business end of it? But I don't think it's getting down inside the actual top joint here. So I think I'm just going to let it sit for a long time with some penetrating fluid and then come at it later. This is what happens when you're working on these old cars and all you want to do is a simple oil change and grease up the chassis and check the rear end oil. So this is kind of where we're stopped at. I could let this I'll tell you what, I'll put some penetrating oil in here and let it sit, and then I'll get on with greasing up the other side and just make sure that's I got it to accept lube. And so I'm done on the passenger side in the front, and let's go to the other side. So you have a total of 14 lubrication points on the front end of these W108s. So you have 3 on the kingpin, lower, middle, and upper, and then you have out here on the lower part of this arm. So then you have 1, 2 over here in the top end on of this arm, whatever you call it, suspension part here. You have that one way up there, and on the other side, going on the other side, you have that one up there. And you have the bottom one. So that's a total of 14, 7 on each side of these W108 lubrication joint back here on the swing axle, and this zerk fitting will not take grease. So I've loosened it. Let's see if we can't get it out, and then we will see if we can't free it up like we did the other one. So let's go ahead and get it out, and we'll look at it in a minute. Oh, here, I can get it out with my fingers. Might just be the ball. Doesn't look so bad in there. Look up in there. It's hard to tell. I bet that's what it is. Okay, let's push this ball in. Oh, there it goes. Okay. This has some stuff in there. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. Now let's go stick our little probe inside the differential here and see what it looks like. Oh, it looks good in there. It's not all rusted and there's grease in there. So let's put it back in and see if it'll accept grease. See how nice that looks? Now I know in order to check the fluid level in the differential properly, the car must be level and not drooped like you see back here up on the lift. But I'm going to have to put it down on the ground, but before I do that, I'm going to loosen this so it makes it easier since I'm going to have to be crawling under the car. Let's just see what we've got here. I've already hit it with a hammer. Alright. So she wants to come loose. I just want to get it loose, not to where it's coming out. There, it's very loose. Okay, now there we go. So let me tighten it back up a little bit. Now let me just set it on the ground and we'll see what we have. Okay, nothing's coming out, so it needs to have some added. Let me see if I can feel it in my finger. Yeah, I can feel it. It's right there. But I'm going to go ahead and add some. Let's go ahead and go get it. This is AMSOIL 80W90 synthetic gear lube. Squirt this stuff in there. Here it comes right out. You see, it didn't need much at all. And we'll go ahead and just put the plug back in. It's good to know. Especially with that oozing you can see out the bottom and the side there. And then use my Hazlat 14 millimeter, which I really like. Alright, I did forget to mention that cleaning out that zerk fitting on the swing axle really helped. It took grease no problem. So really check the condition of your zerk fittings, and if you have any question at all as to whether they're taking grease, take them off and clean them out. Now we need to add oil to the engine. We cannot forget that. Well, let's put our 8 liters of Rotella T4 15W40 in our engine here.